В предишния епизод на Камифуда прекарвах безбройните мрачни часове, затворен в непозната тъмница, размишляващ. Помнех единствено името и греховете си. Бях отведен от затвора си от професор Ихарам, от колежа по древни тайни в Гломрод. Той беше вестителят на Бледия съвет, решил да ми даде втори шанс при едно условие – да мина успешно своето обучение като посветен. В университета тече зимната ваканция, но професор Ихарам ме насочи към малка група студенти, с които да се сдуша. Клубът по Камифуда.
A gust of wind knocked me out of his open office door and onto my ass. The entrance slammed shut just as quickly. The journey to the baths was long, winding, and more than a bit suspect at the direction of the fireflies. But if nothing else, I did finally get my bath. Well, at least I'm clean now, and appropriately dressed. I adjust the jacket of Glomrod's uniform. A bit too loose, but it's certainly better than some prison rags. Professor Iharam mentioned I should head to the Kamifuda club room, but maybe it would be better to explore the campus first. Where to? Okay, residence. The dormitories aren't unlike the universities back home, albeit Decker is about 300 years old, 300 years out of date. Small pressed-in rooms with a single window. Barely enough room to stretch your wingspan from wall to wall, let alone fit a bed and a nightstand. Some larger variations seem to have a separate corner for a writing desk. A useful thing if you are so inclined. Still, you needn't share your space with a roommate, at least from what I've seen by peeking into open rooms. And that, in my book, is already a win. For the second time today, I notice what looks like plant life bursting through part of Glomrod's stone foundation. Here in the West Wing dorms, the growth is clearly some sort of root or branch system. Tough, reedy bark pierces through from a lower level and continues up the floor above. The strange mass cordons off a 10-foot wide section of the corridor. If there was any foot traffic to speak of, I imagine the obstruction would it slow to a veritable halt. When my hand brushes the air near its surface, I feel slight shock, like a cold static, pulsing up my fingers and into my bones, calling from somewhere deep and distant. Нека да докоснем корените, touch the eldritch roots. I rest my palm gently against the old roots. They are warm to the touch, and deep beneath the bark exterior, I feel a pulse. A heartbeat. A shiver of fear twists up my spine. I try to yank my hand away as sappy red tendrils reach out from the cracks in the bark and bind my arm to the plant's surface. I wince. Something pricks my skin. My veins shudder, strobing a diluted vermilion to match the plant's tendril trap. I am woozy, nauseous, world spinning like a top. Where am I? I stand before a rust-red tree with leaves that watch like eyes. It is taller than any skyscraper. It is wider than any pyramid. Its roots churn and reach and grow over a spiraling cosmos, and I stand in its shadow, a surface of endless black. A fleshy crease quivers in the bark. A hole pries itself open. It reveals a radiance of starlight within, bright and brilliant, searing my eyes. Inside, I see everything. I see nothing at the same time. And though I struggle against it, I walk willingly towards these eternal stars. Step by step by step. But then I'm touched by something hot and hungry, so hungry. It grips the nape of my neck like a mother yanking its cub by its scuff. Irritated at the folly of nearly orchestrating its own doom. And this heat rises out from my own shadow, flames to eclipse the tree in a screech of... I fall back onto the dormitory floor, gasping for air, sweet air. What the fuck? I grip my own throat in panic. Steam pours off my skin, blushed and pink to the look of a raw meat. Something shuffles behind me. It sleeps at great remove from here and us. It only wanted you closer, but you are anchored, and that wanted you more, so much more. I nearly jump out of my skin, the voice startles me so. Over my shoulder, a poor postured boy lurks in the corner. He watches me with vacant interest. What the fuck is that thing? Roots of an echo. The corpse seeks to touch divinity, feed until fed, glutton to bursting. A god again, a corpse again. I crawl from the whispering boy, careful not to touch the hellish plant. I pull myself to my feet. My chest is on fucking fire. My heart feels like it is about to burst. I think that thing nearly killed me. It should have. What the fuck is it doing here in the hallway then? Starving. I risk a glance at the tree one more time and then the strange boy. What in the world have I gotten myself into? This place is utter insanity. But the alternative is worse, and so I quickly turn back the direction I came and try my best to forget. Добре. Колзове, връщам се. В общи линии трябва да се върна в клуба по Камифуда. Това е моята следваща локация. Fireflies guide my way through the dimly lit corridor. The time is early afternoon, yet Gloamroth is shaded in blue hues of moonlight. Even in the dark confinement of the Pale Gardens, I seldom missed our cramped little apartment back home, nor the sounds of the interstate. Violent whooshes as cars passed to a chorus of rage-induced horns. Apparently, I was wrong. Perhaps after all this time, I'm simply homesick. Either way, I feel an emptiness here. Like a stalwart void, demanding I haul alongside it. I push on towards the club room despite myself. Too many hallways here cast shadows, blacker than the cell I was in just hours ago. And when I stop and hold my breath, I swear there is chattering in the dark, waiting between the drums of my heartbeat. It is nearly half an hour before I spot another student. She stands outside, mud black door, hands folded into her skirt, moving her lips as if muttering. Though no sounds escape. The fireflies strobe as I approach, and I spot the sign beside the door. Excuse me, are you a club member? The girl jumps a hair before stiffly turning to face me. She stares back blankly, quiet for 10 seconds, then 15, 20. Did I say something wrong? I'm looking for the Kamifuda club room. This is the place, right? Her mouth moves to the rhythm of a sentence, but if there is any sound, it's more akin to breath it's squeaking. My heart sinks like a stone in my gut. Oh man, are you deaf or mute? I'm so sorry. I nervously scratch my scalp. If only I'd listened to my brother and taken sign language classes. But the girl shakes her head in reply. Oh, you are not? No. Her voice is quiet as a pin drop. Just soft spoken then. Sorry, what? I lean in closer. You shouldn't say I'm sorry to someone as a response to learning they are disabled. That's very rude. You might offend them. I flush bead red. At least when I was locked away, I couldn't make a complete ass of myself. Before I start saying I'm sorry for being sorry, why don't we just start over? I'm Tarot. Professor Iharam told me I'm supposed to be joining the club as a new member. The girl blinks once more, then adjusts her glasses to sit properly on the bridge of her nose. Say that again? I'm also a new member. Wait, really? That's great. I mean, maybe we can commiserate with one another. I don't know about you, but this whole place has got my stomach in knots. Also, I'm not sure what it's usually like for new students coming in, but Professor Iharam was blatantly unhelpful. She pauses deliberately this time. A glint of curiosity sprouts in her eyes. You're a new student? Yes. Is that weird? She nods. I'm only transferring in from another club. New students don't typically start this late into the year. Ah, sure. Of course, they don't. Thanks for the heads up, Iharam. The door of the Kamifuda club is left slightly ajar. I pointedly glance inside. Anything to move the subject along. Inside, a tall blonde-haired boy sweeps a mound of dirt energetically into a dustpan. The faint murmurs of a muted song bleed through the clubroom's stone. He is humming quite the catchy tune. I get away from the door and turn back to the shy girl. Should we ask him then? He's gotta be a member. The girl peeks through the door. He looks busy. What if you were interrupting him? From his all-important sweeping duties? Something tells me he will welcome the distraction. She seems unconvinced. I push open the clubroom door, knocking politely as I do. The blonde Adonis turns to greet us with a flourish of his broom, like a knight-errant showcasing his blade. Hey, there's a new face. Hey, the face is old, just new to this insanity, I guess. He lets out a laugh, all too big for my shitty joke. Fair enough. It's not often I see some perusing the halls that I don't recognize though. New student? I have supposedly been assigned to this club. Oh, and this is... I gesture to the quiet girl, just as my adult brain catches up to my tongue. I guess I didn't get your name. But she's also new to the club. Not a student though. Course not. Evie sits behind me in Advanced Poison Craft 203. That's a class? I never knew you liked Kamifuda, Evie. Why didn't you say something? Did this guy just ignore me too? Of course, I understand and respect your boundaries, Evie. What? He understood that? So, you are a new student? Never heard of a transfer this late into the year. Is this your first week? First day? First few hours, even? I'm Tarot. Professor Iharam said to report here for now. He did? He flinches, pausing for the briefest moment. Well, alright, I'll get you sorted. Name's Loon. I've been a member here for a couple of years. Though, I guess I should mention your timing is a bit poor. We already finished for the day, so the club's president headed out for other business, pardon. I was just straightening up. Also, while we would love to have you, we only take members with access to their own decks. I'm not sure how familiar you are, but some cards are fairly valuable artifacts. Namely, they're hard to come by. It's a hand-me-down, technically, but will this work? I hand Loon my deck to his surprise. He shuffles through the cards with increasing momentum, smile widening as he reaches the end. Of course this will work. He slaps my shoulder with a force that could only be equivalent to the silverback gorilla. I do my best to hide my wins. I should warn you, Kamifuda is a bit of a niche interest, so the others in the club have pretty tough decks. The result of a small, dedicated community. How about you, Evie? Are you set? Evie speaks in a menagerie of mumbled breaths and tones. At the end of it, all I've managed to grasp is that she's referenced a small leather pouch in her palms. Really? I never knew that about you, Evie. Welcome to the club. Are they using some kind of telepathy I don't know about, or... Hey, I've got an idea. Loon hurries into a large room adjacent to the entryway. Unlike the main part of the club room, there are no bookshelves, tables, or even windows to feature the university's strange sky. The floor is engraved with runic markings, framed by boundary lines, not unlike a tennis court. Seeing his formal introductions, we'll have to wait. Why don't we have a little fun? Let's see what a pair of you are capable of. You both being new and all, it should be a bit fairer having your first match against each other. Without a word, Evie moves intently to the opposite end of the dueling court. I, in turn, feel the unwelcome shadow of anxiety breathing down the nape of my neck. Hey Loon, I'm not going to be incinerated or anything in the process losing this much, right? Another suspiciously large laugh. Shall we get started? That one's on me. I shouldn't have expected anyone to answer my very reasonable questions. Go! Някакъв воден дек има. Еви. Okay, let's go. I'm sorry, Evie, but could you repeat that? I couldn't quite hear you. Is blocked opponents loses one reserve. Честно казано, it's quite fine. Careful, Tarot. Do you see what she's doing? Gaining power as she defends. I see what she's doing, but... Just give me a moment. Fort of draw 4 spells. Hmm. ...22 време за ритуал. Gain 1 concentration. Your spells look kind of different.
Hydromancy.
Am I supposed to know what that is?
It's a school of eldritch magic. You don't know? About the schools?
No. Nobody bothered to tell me. Така, ритуала и... So that's a school of magic. What school of magic is this?
Exomancy.
Is it powerful?
They all are. If used properly.
Frost Ring, Vanguard 12. Shit, man. So do you go to any other clubs? Sorry, I'll let you think. Окей. Добре се справям за сега. Хо-хо-хо. Inner... Така. Inner Peace. Това са само стени. Attunement, ритуал. 22, кога ще свърши? Gain 1 Concentration, няма смисъл. Ритуалите сякаш не ме кефят като карти. Тя печели защити някакви, но се та. Справям се доста успешно. Да, това е шит. The Enchanter. Channel 2 Energy. Това е ритуал. Мога да я предизвикам. Добре. Този рунд не ми беше много от полза. Не бе, аз играя стандартната стратегия. Печеля си ходове. Ако не извадя това, няма с какво да атакувам после. О, не. Момиче. Приключихме. Добра победа за мен. Награди. Не знам дали печеля всички, но окей. Click anywhere to continue. Мисля, че печеля всички. И 45 ресурс някакъв. Също така е play math.
I lost.
Evie blinks haphazardly as she pulls her cards one by one back into their arcane case. Blue wisps still churn in the air as embers settle to rest upon Clubroom's sable stone. There is a heat in the air, separate from the ghosts of conjured flame. I shuffle my cards back into Ihram's case quickly, but the heat grows like a fever. There beneath my skin there's a sun. It lingers sleeping. It wakes hungry. It eats. It lives again.
Well done, Tarot. You fight with a lot of foresight.
Her soft, croon-like voice shakes me from my stupor. Probably just the beginner's luck. You are tough, Evie. A hand finds my shoulder. She's not kidding, New Blood. Those were some good moves on your end. Have you dueled a bit before? Just once, an hour or two ago. Ihram taught me the rules. An hour ago? Something tells me the rest of us are in trouble. Maybe with some practice you can even take on 3. It's been too long since the club's gotten a new champion. Of course, you'll have to go through me first. I managed to squeak out an awkward laugh. Loon is a bit too chummy for my taste, But if nothing else, he is the most helpful person I've met here so far. With my deck secured, I take a good look at the club room itself for the first time. Rows of windows let in what dwindling light Glomrod seems to accommodate. The walls here are a classic kind of masonry, and from the pile of text left on the tables nearby, I get the sense that Eldritch studies haven't advanced much in the last few hundred years. Before either Loon or I notice, Evie has already taken to a row of bookshelves against the eastern wall. She pulls a dark blue tome from the middle shelf and opens to a page with ink brimming in glitters of lilac and gold. So what now? Well, you should probably come back tomorrow morning and meet Trent. He's the club president. I'm sure he'll have something fun planned for you. Assuming he knows you're coming. I wouldn't bet on Niharam having clued him on that. Fair point. I'll let him know when I see him later. As for you, have you been set up with a room yet? I went over there earlier, but I couldn't find anyone to help me. Sorry about that, newbie. I was over here cleaning for the last couple of hours. I'm actually the RA on campus at the moment, for the West Wing dormitories anyway, but don't worry. I can get you set up with an empty room if you want to head over there. Yeah, thank you. Sweet. Loon waves a farewell to Evie on our way out. She mumbles something in return, eyes alight in her newfound book. I ask him whether he actually understands her on the walk to the dorms. Frustratingly, he shrugs. We round the same hallway I visited earlier that day. An unease tickles my nape, the nape of my neck, though Loon's presence surprisingly alleviates the worst of it. But as we pass the strange plant overgrowth again, I can't shake the sense that something about Glomrod is very, very wrong. When I was checking out the dorms earlier, I ran into a kid that was a little out there. He said some strange things. I'm probably making too much of it. Loon tilts his head thoughtfully for half of a second. A bit thin, glasses, sort of nervous. I blink. Yeah, actually, do you know him? Sounds like you met Quizo. He's actually a member of the Kamifuda club though he doesn't come around as often as he used to. Loon halts. You okay? You're looking a little green around the gills. Yeah, I'm fine, it's just... When I was here earlier, something strange happened. Guess it shook me a bit. Strange? How? I contemplate lying. After all, if just a month ago I decided to tell anyone about cryptic visions I'd seen after touching a tree, I'm sure I would have been committed. But then Loon did just spend the last 20 minutes watching Evie and I throw spark and flame at each other. And that, as far as I can tell, was pretty average afternoon for him. I may have accidentally touched that weird root thing we just walked by. And I think I saw some stuff. Actually, it felt like I was dying, to be honest. The whole experience was awful. Loon stops in his tracks. You touched the Vacus tree? His voice squeaks a bit, making me flinch. If that's the big old root, then yeah. Is that bad? He looks me up and down. His face is a mix of skepticism and fear. I don't know. How do you feel? Fine now. In the moment it was terrible. I saw, well, I'm not sure what I saw, but whatever it was horrible. And when I snapped out of it, I felt like I just narrowly dodged the heart attack. I've been here 3 years, Taroth, and in that time I think 6 or 7 people have touched the vacuous tree. Either on a stupid bet or an overconfident whim. You know what happened to them? Comatose, every single one. There's usually a lot of screaming. A few times they even spouted a bunch of eldritch phrases before finally going quiet. But the result is always the same. Brain dead, forever. My heart begins to drum in my ears. Oh my god, am I going to be okay? You're still standing, so yes, maybe? He pauses nervously. Maybe ask Iharam about it next time you see him. I nod in a frantic agreement. Why is this thing still on the school grounds if it's so dangerous? I'm not sure. An old professor of mine told me once that the tree predates the school. He theorized that the school was actually built around it. For what purpose? Lune shrugs. Feeding the grounds with eldritch magics, maybe. Or perhaps the tree is the central pillar to the Glomroad's pocket dimension. Not sure if you'll notice it yet, but we are not exactly in Kansas anymore. And I've heard not all of the Pale Host universities exist in the little pocket spaces like this one. Maybe the tree is what makes Glomroad unique. Either way, I wouldn't recommend trying for a second game of Russian roulette. Duly noted. Lund picks up the pace, though noticeably seems much deeper in thought than a minute ago. At the end of the hall, he opens a door with a set of keys clipped to his belt, room 517. It's as bland as they come, grey sheets, grey curtains, slightly less grey coke between the brick-laden walls. Home sweet home, what do you think? Well, first Glomroad should fire its interior decorator. As soon as they hire one, I'll pass your comments along. I open the curtains. They are conveniently hung so that the perpetual light outside bleeds just into the range of the spot where I typically prefer to rest my head. But then I notice something. A bright blue butterfly sits on the windowsill. It opens and closes its wingspan slowly, rhythmically, not a care in the world. When a breeze lifts the creature out and away, it glides without a flight. It's perfect, thank you. Sure thing, man. And hey, if you ever need to, I don't know, Thok, let me know. I raise my brow in reply. It's just your sudden transfer. And then you tell me you somehow survived the Eldritch plant with a 100% knockout rate? Look, we are all Paxon here. Throw a stone down the hallway and you are more likely to hit someone with a story like yours than anywhere else in the world. And we've heard it all. So just if you need anything, we are here. That's kind of you, Lun. Poskoro. Thanks. Anytime. Well, I'll leave you to it then. Make sure to stop by the club sometime tomorrow. Trent will be excited to have some fresh blood. And with that, he leaves. I spend a few minutes trying to red decorate after. That is until I realize my only current possession are the clothes on my back.